Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today I'm joined by a very special guest.
Me, Clay.
Good job. And today we're doing one of our yearly traditions, and that is the secret book haul. That's right, Clay went off to a local bookstore, one of our favorites. Which one did you go to?
Book People.
We love Book People in this house. And he went, looked around, picked 5 books, wrapped them up so nicely. Look at this wrapping paper, and we're gonna open them up together, and I'm so excited. It's always so fun. I always feel like he picks such unique reads, books that I've often never heard of before. It's one of my favorite videos to film every single year. So welcome to the husband. We've upgraded. Picks out my book haul. But before we dive into unboxing the books themselves, first a word from this video's sponsor, which is Book of the Month. I'm so excited to say I'm partnering up with Book of the Month for this video. I have been a longtime lover of Book of the Month for so many years, and their special offer this month, pretty dang fantastic. But if you're not familiar, Book of the Month is an online bookish subscription service. Every single month they curate a selection of books from a variety of different authors, voices in the community, always hardcover and always new releases sent directly to your door. If you're not interested in a book for that month, it's super easy to skip, but honestly, they always have such variety, and I always feel like they're introducing me to new titles and options every single month, which I love. This month, their options are incredible, and they're also bringing back some fan favorites, books that I personally love that you're able to select again, like Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and the offer this month is truly next level. That's right, if you sign up with the code for you, you're able to get your first book for only $5. Yes, a brand new hardback for only $5. Amazing. That being said, I have 2 books from the November releases that I'm so thrilled to show off. The first book is What the River Knows, which is one of my most anticipated fantasy releases of the year. This is described to be the mummy meets death on a Nile, and everything about it just sounds so enchanting. But in the story, we're introduced to our main character Inez, and she lives in 19th century Buenos Aires, and this city, like all the cities in the world, are steeped with old world magic. On the outside, Inez looks like she has everything she could possibly want. She's rich, she's beautiful, she passes her time going to beautiful parties, but what she really yearns for is to see her globe-trotting parents. At the beginning of this book, she actually receives word of the tragic passing of her parents, and she receives a mysterious ring in the mail from her father. From there, she decides to set out and get answers, bringing her all the way to Egypt. This seems like this is a story centered in magic and family and romance, and I'm so excited to pick it up. And the other book I selected this month, I imagine a lot of others will be picking up too, and that is Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward, one of the most celebrated and lauded authors of our time and generation. Her books have won numerous awards, and this book in particular is one of the most anticipated releases of the year just in general. So when I saw the opportunity to pick it up and add to my collection, I knew I wanted to pick it up right away. And this is said to be beautifully rendered and heart-wrenching, and is a reimagining of American slavery, searching, harrowing, and full of transcendent love. This novel is also a journey taking us to numerous locations all across the American South. This novel honestly sounds stunning in every way, and I was just really thrilled to see it as an option from Book of the Month this month. Alrighty guys, those were my November pickups from Book of the Month this month. Again, I will have that offer code as well as a link to their site listed down below, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. Clay, without giving away any details, did you have anything that you were kind of thinking about going into the bookstore? Like when you were trying to select these titles?
I look across a handful of different areas, and I always try to find a few things that you would be more in your interest, or maybe like a little bit outside of your interest, but something I think you might still like.
Yeah.
I don't know everything you've read, but I hear you talk about a lot of the different things
Makes
you read,
sense.
and I know what you like. And so I try to find things across fantasy, all fiction, but also different stories, and often like something that has a fantastical element, even if it's not like a purely fantasy book. I pick a lot of books from the new releases area. If it's a new release, it's most likely something you read recently, and I would probably remember you reading it. And so I can more easily filter things out, and I just see them like sitting around on the bookshelves and stuff.
For sure. All right, so let's move on to book number 1.
Yeah, so the first book is a book that I think covers something that would be really interesting to Reagan, just knowing her interests. And also sounds really good. Also, I tried to check Goodreads on every book I bought, so it wouldn't be. You like to like books too, so if it's like highly rated, you'll probably like it.
I already love this cover. I've never heard of this. This is called Let the Dead Bury the Dead by Allison Epstein, by the author of The Hangman. Tell me about it.
So I picked this book because it covers like a topic that Reagan's really interested in, which is Russian history.
That's true.
And this book is an alternate history book taking place in 1812 in St. Petersburg, Russia. It's a woman coming back from the Imperial Army, spending time with lover, friend, so disgraced second son. And
Of the Tsar?
Yeah, of the Tsar.
Oh, I love that.
And got like a political element to it. There's, I know, a battle uprising, something goes on. So I think it covers probably like a big kind of sweeping
time period.
Yeah.
One, I love alternate histories in general, and I am a really big fan of Russian history, but this is set after the wake of Napoleon's failed invasion of Russia, and I think it has like revolution, ancient magic, is like a dash of fantasy in this with obviously the historical political elements. I am so pumped to read this, and I cannot believe I've never heard of this book. This was great. You're batting 100% so far, Clay. You're doing great.
So the second book is a first book to a series. It's the only paperback in the group.
Oh, it's a series?
Yes. And actually what led me to this book was the second one in the book.
Yeah.
I was drawn to that, and then when I was reading it, I realized it's a series? And I think the second one is like a significant step up from the first. So,
okay.
But it still seemed like very interesting.
Yeah.
And
I'm curious.
you know what it is?
I love a series. A series selection is bold. I respect it.
And you might know this.
Oh, yes,
this
I
series?
have heard of this. I don't own it, but
Oh, you
I've
don't?
heard okay, so it is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. Witch book. We love a witch book.
So this book is a book about women that are in a witch's coven that's part of like the Royal Secret Service or something like that.
Present day.
And it's present day.
Okay.
And they've been in it since childhood. And sounds like a really interesting concept that blends magic with like current times. It's a witch's coven.
Is it like espionage? Like they're like spies? Like government workers?
Like Her Majesty's Royal Coven, so it's like established by Queen Elizabeth I.
So you're right. It's about these 4 women who are part of this like bureaucratic witches coven, but I think most of them have left and are now kind of trying to find new paths in their life, like using their magic for different things. But then I think though some type of like threatens like witches and the whole organization in general. So it might have an element of like the gang getting back together to like solve this mystery, if you will. And you said this is a series, so I wonder if it's kind of like serialized mystery of the week vibes, which I love as an idea as well. But this sounds so fun. I always love a witch book, especially like witch investigative book. I am really looking forward to picking this book up quite a bit. So I'm thrilled to have this. I want to show everyone Clay's notebook. The brownie points need to be given. He takes this very seriously, which I really appreciate.
It's the Moomin book. So this is probably the highest, like, critically ranked one.
Oh, really?
But it's also probably the furthest from your normal taste.
Oh, fascinating.
And so this is like a book that is inspired by a novel from like a couple hundred years ago, very famous novel.
I think I know what this is, and I wonder if I'm right. Okay, I'm going to interrupt you.
It won the Pulitzer.
Okay, I think I know what this is. Wait! Oh my god. Okay.
It seems really interesting.
It's exactly. Okay, I feel like you would really like this book too, because you really love Dickens. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm just so excited. I'm so happy you picked this up. Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Did you know this was almost... So in my IRL book club, we nominate books, and this almost won.
Oh, wow.
And you told me you came home and you almost bought the one that did win because you thought it sounded interesting. So you almost grabbed multiple our book club books. It makes me feel like our IRL book club is like picking dinkers. But this is so good. I feel like this could be one we could both read and like chat about because I'm getting ahead of myself. But as you said, this is inspired by David Copperfield, which is a Dickens novel. But this is like a modern sort of epic inspired by that, set in like the Appalachians. I want to say we follow a poor boy living in a trailer park, but it follows a large expanse of his life. Sorry, I feel like I'm stealing your thunder, but I was just so excited that you picked this up, so I'll pass it over.
Yeah, so I think you covered a lot of what this book is about. It's not a retelling, but it's like a spiritual successor to David Copperfield. It covers like the difficulties of like poverty, the hardships that come within that, rural
America,
being somewhat ignored by pop culture, you're almost invisible, and how that has a lasting impact on people's lives. it came across as very interesting. Cover is really cool.
It is.
It's what drew me to it. And I knew it's not something you normally read. I feel like this is a little...
I have been wanting to read this book, but I've been like going back and forth if I should never read David Copperfield before, and I thought I needed to, but then talking to my friend very recently, because she's reading this book, she was like, I don't think you need to, and I was like, oh, so it like really moved up my list. Because I always thought it sounded interesting, but I didn't know if I needed that like pre-reading to like really get the full experience, but I hear you don't need it, and I hear it's excellent. So I'm really excited about this one. I think we should both read this, because I also feel like this would be something you would really enjoy too. Clay reads less fantasy than me. He reads more like literary fiction, I would say.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I just don't read nearly as much as you.
The volume is a little different, but I think that statement isn't inaccurate.
You go to the movie theaters twice and you see 2 comedies. It doesn't mean you only like comedies. It's just you don't go to the movie theater very often.
Book number 4.
So book number 4 is a book that has a major magic element to it. It's not like touch for magic, like magic drives the story.
Fantasy.
Yeah, but it's not like high fantasy.
Oh, interesting.
And really just like the book just can't, it's a new release.
Okay.
And the book, and I was just drawn to the book because it seemed like something that would really interest you, has like a lot of elements of books you like, and highly rated.
Nice. Is it Iron Flame? I'm just kidding.
It's not Iron Flame. I don't know if that joke's for me.
Ooh, this looks like a fantasy book. I'm looking at the back right now. Ooh, what is it? Oh, I don't know if I've heard of this either. The Star and the Strange Moon. So what is this book about? I've never heard of this book.
So this is a fantasy novel. It's got some dark gothic elements to it.
Ooh, I love gothic.
It's a mystery element to it as well. So an actress in the 60s, dual timeline novel starting in the 60s with an actress whose disappearance around making a movie becomes this great mystery in Hollywood. Fast forward to now. There is a filmmaker that's always had an interest in her disappearance, and he's noticed that every decade, once a decade when they show this film, that there's new impossible footage going on. So mystery element to this, he's probably looking into it, trying to figure it out, and what's going on.
Solve this great mystery. That sounds really interesting. I love a dual timeline book. I read The Great a couple years ago, and I feel like that is an example of a book that does like really good present and past sort of mixing. Also a Hollywood, because it follows like a historical figure and then present day a woman who's playing her in a movie. So I love this idea of like the past and present kind of becoming intertwined and like a scary sort of spooky movie that has like unexplained elements to it. I'm curious about this. I've never heard of this book before, and I mean, I love a gothic horror mystery. So I feel like this could be one I'd really enjoy. We are on our 5th and final book, everyone. I think this wrapping paper might be my favorite. The little Christmas stamps.
So this book really caught my eye for a handful of reasons. It is a alternate history as well novel.
Love that.
And it also takes place in Korea.
Really?
Which is somewhere we traveled to, and it was really fun when we went. And it's a special place to us. So
awesome. I'm so excited for this. Okay, let me wait. Ooh, and it's signed. This looks awesome. Okay, The Same Bed, Different Dreams by Ed Park. This cover is really cool with the kind of divided nature of it. Okay, so this book sounds really interesting. It also has like a pretty complex synopsis, which I think is in part probably why you were drawn to it in the store and why I'm really compelled to pick this up. So I'm going to do my best to describe this, Clay.
Professional do it.
So this book is basically an alternate history novel set in Korea, and it's basically toying with the concept of if the KPG still existed, which was established by a patriot group of rebels during the Japanese occupation of Korea. And the KPG is the Korean Provisional Government, which was dissolved after World War II and after the tragic split of the country as a result of more war after the fact. So this book is like a kaleidoscope of meshing different narratives in reality, and if the KPG was still there behind the scenes trying to pull levers to make their political aims of a unified Korea still in existence. But what's so interesting about the synopsis is it says to like it's going to really toy with you. It's pulling in elements of Korean pop culture, American pop culture. It's said to be thrilling and funny and just absolutely like a ride of an experience. And I believe in this too. We follow a main character who works for like a tech giant in modern day, and he stumbles upon a work by the KPG, which seemingly like is connecting all of these unlikely people and plot lines that was happening behind the scenes the whole time. And I think that's part of the experience of this book. I think it's like absurd and funny and kind of makes you reframe a lot of our understanding of like 20th century history. And this book just sounds really, 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 really interesting. I'm so excited to pick this one out. I've never heard of this, but I'm so intrigued to pick it up.
Yeah, I was just really drawn to this book because it just, like Reagan just explained, it's very complicated and interesting, and it seems like it covers a lot. Korean history is really, really interesting. After we both read Pachinko, and just like exploring that would be like something I'd also be interested in reading more about. I know this is alternate history, but
yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah. The language of this book, too, is like people describe it as a kaleidoscope or a prismatic experience. Like, I feel like it must have this like extraordinary, like multifaceted sort of narrative experience.
And the cover just is like crazy.
The cover is so cool. I feel like this book is going to be one that will be an experience you probably won't forget, kind of thing. So I'm so excited to have this. Great pickup, Clay. Alrighty, guys, here is the haul of 5 books. I feel like we've got good range here. We have horror mystery, we have some literary fiction, we have some magic, we have lots of alternate history here too. I'm so excited to pick up so many of these. Is there one that you personally want to get to the soonest, Clay?
Demon Copperfield.
Copperhead. Demon Copperhead, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I feel like that's a book you would really like. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Clay for picking out these wonderful books. And also big shout out to this video's sponsor again, which is Book of the Month. We'll have a link to their site as well as the offer code link down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye!